Yes. Okay, we made it. So, welcome to whoever watching this. This is Heart Match's very first online webinar. So, excuse us if we're rusty with anything. But anyway, we will have two presenters today. And first, Abdullah will do a presentation more targeted for men. And after that, Anastasia will do a presentation more targeted for women. But both perspective will be very, very informative and useful for both genders. So I do recommend sitting through the whole thing. And I must say, this is more targeted for cis straight people who is interested in men and women. So excuse me if there is any LGBTQ folks here. It's not really targeted to you, but I still think it will be very, very interesting to watch. So I hope you enjoy the whole thing. And yeah, if it tweaks your interest, please come to the single mingle on the Valentine's Day also. So that's it from me, and Abdullah, take it away.
Okay, I'll share my screen so I can continue the presentation. Can is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Let's see, is it still visible now?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, well, thanks everyone for coming. I wanted to give this like a presentation. My main one motivation for this was because I wanted to improve the way that like men are presenting themselves towards like dating. I have a lot of female friends, and they're always complaining about how like it sucks for them, like the dating experience. So I wanted to do something to like improve it for others as well. Share some of like my own like experiences, things that really worked for me, things that other women have told me that that they really appreciated or that really worked for them. So this is more of like a collection of thoughts and some like ideas, some guidelines for how we can like improve it like across the board. Um, there are like a lot of things that are like covered in this, but it's not specifically going too detailed into like very specific things. But it's more so that I've decided to show like a couple of like many things from like the entire like pipeline, the entire chain of like the things that you should be maybe thinking about, things maybe where you can improve certain things. Um, and of course, we discuss, like more about like each of those things. Um, but the idea is that to give like a general overview, like a bird's eye overview of like the different things, the different places where maybe you can reflect on yourselves on how you're doing it, and maybe learn a bit more on how you can maybe improve those things. Um, and the major part of actually succeeding with improvement would be doing more work and effort yourself. This is more of like a guideline of like, hey, these are the things that maybe you should be focusing on. And then it is very important, absolutely essential, I would say, for you to also reflect on these yourself and then learn how to do them better. Maybe do some practice going in more on more dates and more social events and things like this, and then improving it across that. And something that takes a much more like longer amount of time. There's no single workshop that's going to like teach that to you like from scratch. Then, so it is something that it's good to have this kind of like guideline, and then you will be like building upon this like further yourself. So the first part of this is sort of like the tutorial. We're going to try and understand like what the issues are, like where the issues lie, and sort of like understand more of like the direction that we should be going. So what is the current problem? The current problem is that there's a lot of too many low effort profiles when you're talking about, for example, dating profiles. Really like bad pictures that are uninteresting, uninspiring, empty bios. It's what the experience that a lot of my female friends describe to me, and I also see like they put on the dating app, they gave me the phone, they're like, hey, check this out, and I'm also like scrolling around seeing what the profiles are. Guys, it's kind of sad. I'm really sorry. What a lot of people are doing, it's really like low effort. It's very uninteresting for women to like see these kind of like profiles. And yeah, it doesn't really leave them a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm when you're interacting with many of these profiles. When they do get matches, like the messages are either minimal, the conversations are quite boring, they're very unengaging. there's very like lack of emotional connection. People might the way that a lot of men are like doing their messages online. They're just doing like very like generic stuff, very basic small talk, but there's nothing really that's inspiring some emotional connection. There's nothing that's really creating that kind of like spark. When they're going on dates, the dates often feel very exhausting, very disorganized. It doesn't feel like the person put in a lot of effort or was super enthusiastic about it. It just, yeah, it didn't seem very like interesting or like engaging for like the women to see like the kind of effort that they've had often. And oftentimes sometimes like men, when they're asking the women out, they're also putting like more of like the work on them, and that's not something that a lot of women really want to see. They do want to see a man to take more leadership and take more like plan. And by leadership, it does not mean being a very dominant person, but it means having the ability to plan and initiate, and take the lead in certain things, because they want to see a person who is capable of doing those things. And yeah, a lot of the interactions are quite like low effort, and in general, this leads a lot of women to feel a lot of like burnout and a lot of like frustration with regards to dating. So, and then the next person that they like match with, they're already going to start off with like lower energy. So if you sometimes feel that, okay, maybe even if you're doing certain things right, but the other person is like struggling to put up the energy, she might have just been burnt out from like some previous experiences. And yeah, like the entire like low effort lazy approaches, if when people are doing it like this, it causes like interest to be lost quite easily. So let's see this from the women's perspective. What does she need to experience, like what does she need to experience to choose a partner? And this is more so like a collection, you could say it's maybe some of my opinions, but also a lot of things that I've understood from like others' experiences. But and a lot of women will also be a bit different. They might be looking for certain specific things as well. But this is generally, more broadly, we can say they're looking for a person who is mature, person who is caring, person who is emotionally intelligent, and person with whom they have good chemistry and a good connection with. And I will explore like all of these concepts as well, like later. But it's important to like sort of understand this like general idea of the kind of things that like what a woman wants to be experiencing, for her to be like, hey, this is the kind of person that I want in my life, the kind of person that she wants to choose to be with. And from your own experiences as well, you can add certain things more, if you see that, okay, like the women that maybe you have dated have also wanted something in addition to these things, then of course you can add that to this equation. But this is sort of like the general way that I want to start looking at things. So when it comes to the first thing, like maturity and reliability, what the woman wants to see is that you can handle your own life, right? You're not like someone who's unable to completely take care of themselves, because the last thing that she really wants to do is basically have a man child, right? She's out there living her life. She doesn't want to automatically get a new person that she's like now completely who just depends on her to be doing all the work for these kind of things. That she wants person to be able to handle their own life, like be organized. She wants you to be able to take initiative and plan things. For example, when it regards to dating, for example, and planning the dates and things like this, she wants to be able to rely on you. Because if you say you're going to do certain things, but then you don't do them, if you say, hey, I'm going to be there at this time, but then you don't show up, you forget these kind of things, she's not going to feel that she can rely on you. She's going to like sort of like close up more. She's not really going to open up to you, and she's not going to feel that she can like trust you with this. And she doesn't want to be carrying all of the mental load. Yes, any like proper relationship is both of the people, like working together. Yes. But if you force all the stuff on her, that she has to do all the things, or she has to do all of the planning, and you're not really going to participate and pull your own weight, she's not going to be very interested in this. It's going to be more exhausting for her. She doesn't really want that. So how can you do improve on this? Plan the dates, handle the details, follow through with your commitments, and be consistent with these things. Don't just be like making like certain plans and doing certain things, but then just like not being mature and not being like reliable person, not being trustworthy and consistent in like other places. Why is this important? It's important because if you're being more mature and very reliable person, she feels safe. She feels that she can rely on you. She can trust you because she doesn't have to do all of the work and like be your mother. You know. The next thing is being attentive and caring, and how you can do this. You listen and you notice details about her personality and not her body. And this especially, this point, especially about when you're starting meeting someone, whether it's you just got a match with someone or it's the first date. Uh, like what she wants is that she's dating someone who's like interested in her, and how she feels that is if you're noticing things about her personality, things that are important to her. You notice those things and not focus on her body. Don't make compliments about her physical appearance first, especially the like start of like when you're meeting someone, because she didn't choose those things about herself. But if you choose if you notice and compliment things about her hairstyle, not specifically her hair, but her hairstyle, for example, things like this, then she would be like it would be like a more genuine compliment for her. And noticing things from her profile to create conversation. So if, for example, if she's mentioned certain hobbies or certain things, then you're using that to like create the conversation. And this is useful because then she sees that you're paying attention to what she's like written there. Remembering her passions and her interests and showing interest in them. So if she like says something, you can ask more questions about that to show like more curiosity in this, and just show more interest in those. And you're supportive in places where she struggles and wants support. Uh, this may becomes more when you're like maybe already like a few dates in or something, and she's like talking about something that she might be struggling in. You can be supportive and caring to her. Try to like assist her. Don't automatically like maybe solve the issue for her, because I think she will probably appreciate more that you're supporting and helping her figure out the solution. And how you can do these things, as I said, like notice and remember the details, her passions and other things like that, and show that you're paying attention when she talks about certain things, when she expresses certain things. You're paying attention to that. And why this is important: she feels seen, valued, and understood, because she wants someone who is interested in her, right? Who she's if she's going to be in a relationship with someone, she's going to be like bringing that person into her world. So obviously, I think she would want that person to have an interest in her world and in her life. And doing this like builds emotional connection and trust, because the more you're taking interest in what she's saying and what she's doing, the more sort of like she gets this like familiarity that you understand her more, you see and you know more about her. So this is very important for laying the foundation for building the rest of like the relationship and the future on top of this. Emotionally intelligent. This involves about being able to process and communicate emotions maturely. If there's an issue, if something's like bothering you, don't throw a tantrum, don't get aggressive, don't get passive aggressive. Handling situations properly. Like don't, if you're feeling stressed about something, you find ways to manage that stress. You don't make it someone else's problem, and like being like more aggressive and like rude towards them. You should be able to build spaces of empathy and comfort. This is quite similar to like being caring in that sense, but it is more so about like being emotionally there for her, and being like empathetic to like the situation that she's going through maybe, and trying to like give comfort to her. And this other like the third point, about letting her express and explore her feelings, instead of just jumping to solutions. This again comes more like later on, like the relationships. But it is more so of, let's say if she's going through something, or she's like frustrated about something, you're a lot of men, what we like to do, because we try to just like come up with like solutions for stuff because we want to get rid of that situation. But for a lot of women, she wants to process her emotions first. So you have to like pause your own self, and let her express everything that she's feeling, and then try to work towards a solution, help her figure out the solution, rather than just directly giving her the solution. Because what this does, if you just give her directly the solution, she doesn't feel that you maybe paid attention to what she was saying. You didn't pay it much. She feels that maybe you didn't pay enough attention to why something is bothering her. So this will make her feel like more seen in this way. Noticing her emotional cues, like if something is bothering her, then you notice that. If something is exciting her, something that she like if something that sparks her, for example. You're like noticing these kind of things, and you have to like, how do you do this? You build emotional skills. You show you want to like listen to her, and you're helping her like process her feelings. Again, this comes more like a bit further on in like the dating like journey, when you're like maybe already a few dates in, or maybe already in like a relationship. And yeah, making like safe, emotional, empathic space between you two. Why is this important? She doesn't feel like she needs to be like a therapist for you. Because if you're not managing your stress well, if you're being very passive aggressive or and stuff like this, if you're throwing tantrums, like she doesn't want to like be dealing with those kind of like childish issues, right? She doesn't want to deal with childlike behavior. She wants stability, and she wants stability from like coming from you, and she wants you to be like the lighthouse to her stormy thoughts and helping her figure out things as well. The next thing is connection and chemistry. She obviously wants to be with someone who's giving her kind of like spark and some excitement as well. And you can do this with like through your body language, through your behavior, through charisma, how you're communicating as well. When you're flirting, you can use like some playful banter, a bit of like sarcasm, a little bit of like teasing. Don't like overdo it. Don't be like very rude and problematic in that way. But it's important to have that kind of like flirty like energy. Otherwise, it just becomes like a very platonic vibe, and then she starts seeing you more as a friend, and she doesn't feel that spark in that. And for example, you can do this like sharing topics that build emotional connection. If you've seen like the show Friends, for example, you might remember like Joey's Europe story that he like uses to like build this like emotional connection with like the person he's dating. So that's kind of like an example for how you can talk about things that build the emotional connection. And then how you can also create this like connection, create this like chemistry by asking that also explore emotional depth. And this saves like the date from turning into like a very boring interview. And another example of this, also from Friends, is Rachel's go-to move of where did you grow up? This is also like the episode is like mentioned here if you want to explore this further. But basically, she uses this to like ask quite more about the person's past, but then she builds on this by asking more and more personal questions, and it makes the person that she's dating like feel more emotions, and it just makes the whole atmosphere of the date more emotional. And that's how you can foster these emotions. And the more like emotions you're able to create on the date, the more you might have that spark in chemistry there, because she obviously wants to feel emotions when she's going on a date. She doesn't want to If she's going on a date, she doesn't want to be there with someone who's basically the equivalent of like a friend. How do you do this? You craft a positive and romantic space. You don't make it turn into completely platonic. You're asking smart follow-ups, and that basically you're doing that to like create that emotional connection. Why is this important? Because then it makes the dating like a lot more thrilling, more romantic, a lot more memorable. If it just becomes like a very boring interview, it's not very like very inspiring, not very interesting. And this is what helps to like ignite like a real spark, and that's the thing that's going to make her want to come back for more. So how you do this? Self-reflect on how you have been currently doing things, learn how you can do things better, and definitely practice. Go on more dates if you can. You can practice going to like social events as well when it comes to making conversation, because a lot of these things are about how you make conversation as well. So you can also just go to like a lot of different social events, make small talk with people, try to like have that get better at like making conversation, and practice and more practice. This is something that takes effort, especially if someone is not that good at it. If you're much more introverted and you maybe struggle with this more, then yeah, more practice is going to be necessary, and effort. There is no like cheat code that's going to like automatically do this. But yeah, it takes effort. And know the kind of partner that makes you passionate. What kind of person do you want to be with? And then understand what kind of person would she be interested in. And that's the kind of person that you have to try and make yourself. You don't need to ditch your personality. You don't need to change who you are as a person. You don't need to necessarily like change your clothing or or give up your hobbies or something. And you don't need to be like a fake person. None of that is something that you need to be doing. You can stay comfortable to like what you like to be doing in life, but you can level up your social skills, and that's where like the key thing is. For me, how I see it is this idea of the main loneliness epidemic. I don't think that this exists. For me, like it's more of a lack of adequate social skills and poor emotional intelligence that a lot of men have, and a refusal to improve on these things. So the next part of this is, how do you make your move? How do you do things more? Uh, so first thing we're going to look at is the profile setup. With regards to pictures, make sure that the picture that you're posting on your dating profiles, for example, are clear. You have recognizable face. There's no like ugly like yellow filter that's just like making it look as if it's some Hollywood version or Netflix version of showing Mexico. There's a complete like yellow filter or something. Your face is recognizable. You're not your main picture at least, and most of your pictures should not have sunglasses or hats that are like covering your face. Use solo shots of you, so not like selfies, but avoid group shots as well, because if she cannot tell like who you are in that picture, that's not going to be interesting. Because yeah, she's going to be stuck trying to figure out which one you are from that group then. You can use the pictures to also like highlight your personality. If you have hobbies, interests, a certain natural style, you can show these things through those pictures as well. So don't just have like these sort of like LinkedIn kind of like photos, which is like a plain white background. Have maybe some like photos that are like more interesting to look at as well, because they show more depth of like who you are. Smile. I can't believe I'm saying this, but like you really have to smile in these photos. I've seen a lot of pictures where you get people just, it looks like a mugshot. That's not something that women want to see like on like dating profile. So smile and be like natural, and be authentic as well, because it really shows. If you start like posing with like books that the rest of your profile shows that you're not reading these kind of like philosophical books, but you're posing with those books in your pictures, it is very visible. It's very clear, and women recognize that because they can see from your profile the kind of person that you are. And if you're posing and like being very fake, it will show. Why is this important? It makes you seem more human and emotionally approachable. You have like clear vibes, like she's not stuck trying to figure out who you are, and this helps her relax, and she can focus on like the romantic feelings a lot sooner. Because if she's stuck trying to figure out, if this, what kind of person this is, she all of her energy will be spent trying to figure you out, and not enough energy is being spent on actually fostering those like romantic emotions. And it also shows that you're spending genuine effort in like dating, and you're not just like putting up like the last picture that you took out randomly on your phone, and you show that you're actually serious about putting yourself out there, and it's actually you're actually someone that's actually worth your time. Next thing also with profiles is how you can use your bios or your prompts, depending on what app you're using. You should like think about what you want to showcase about your personality, and you divide it in your photos, your bio, and you can like, if you want to show some hobbies, you want to talk about certain things about your life, you don't need to put all of that into your bio. You can show some things in photos, some things in the bio, and things like this. You can use hooks to create curiosity and invite engagement. You can make maybe some like if you have like a funny story to tell about something, then you can sort of like give like a hint of that in like the bio, and then the person will be curious to like ask more about it when the actual conversation is going. And then like yeah, keep it authentic. I've seen a lot of these things. I'm sorry, like a lot of women are also doing this. Honestly, I don't really understand it. It's on Bumble, for example, you have this like a prompt of like, when my phone dies, what do you do? And some people just like, I charge it. This is so boring. Like, don't do things like this. Keep it authentic, and don't say like boring stuff like this. It just completely, even if your pictures are like amazing, if you have stuff like this in your profile, very generic, uninspiring stuff, you just seem like a complete boring and uninteresting person. You could make a joke here, you could do something, or if you don't even do that, just leave it blank. But do not put these kind of like really awkward fillers. Yeah, and just use your like bio to make like a more positive vibe. This is important. Like, why is this important? It creates like, this is like your blank canvas, and it allows you to show your personality depth, your humor, and other things that you want the other person to know about you. Because right now they have not swiped on you yet; they're still making that decision. So you want to be able to use your bio and your entire profile to show more of your personality there. And also, if you have a profile that's actually like more filled in, then you have more material to create the connection on. So your profile is your first impression, and you have to use this chance well. Be magnetic, show effort, and make her feel what you want her to feel about you. The next thing is planting the seeds. And by what I mean about this is that when you've already matched with someone, start the conversation by being gently flirty and playful. Match the level of like humor and like energy. Don't become like super sexual from like the first messages on. She hasn't warmed up to you yet. She doesn't feel comfortable around you. Don't do stuff like that. If she's being very like, playful and very flirty and very like, let's say if there's like more dirty talk happening, then yeah, go for it. Like match that energy, but don't, just sort of more gently. You can even be teasing, have some fun banter. People, it always makes like a nice sort of like a vibe when you're like being playful like in this way. Don't just be completely flat and boring in this. You can bond over hobbies, passions, different topics, and they can use this to create like the emotional connection. Keep like a good pace of conversation, and also like ask her out soon, because she's, both of you are on dating apps so that you can meet people and go on dates. And I see this often that even when like a lot of my female friends have like matched with like a really nice guy, uh, like they just like keep talking, and the guy just keeps talking, and then for like 2 weeks they're only talking, the guy's never asking her out on a date. Why? Like, you should be wanting to go on a date. And the way that I do this is like, I start the conversation, I like, I create that initial connection, but I'm trying to see like when I can ask out the person as soon as possible. If we start the conversation on a certain day, and then she's like replying so much that same day, and then we had like maybe like 5 hours of conversation the same day or something, like a lot of messages, then I might even ask her out the same day. But if she's responding like one day, then I respond to her, and then she responds to that the next day, and then it's going day by day, then yeah, it can take 3-4 days to build that like minimum amount of connection before you can ask that person out. Yeah, but do avoid these like forever talking stages. When you're like planting the seed in this way, and warming stuff up, it like avoids stalling the momentum. And yeah, it shows that you can be playful, attentive, and you're being considerate of her comfort. You're not being like a very creepy person. She can open up to you more. She feels more safe around you, and keeps this like momentum going. Because if you're taking like too much of like a break in between or something, then the sort of like the emotion that you've created, sort of the warming up that you've done between you two, it sort of starts to go down as well. So you want to keep like build some momentum and keep it up. For the date, sometimes like a lot of men don't really show the initiative. They're just going like, oh, where do you want to go? And that's not really a very interesting way to put it. Like you should be the one taking the initiative. You should have like some clear plan. If you need to understand what are her interests, you can do this in a much more smarter way. And I will go on this like in the next point. You can like prepare some go-to options. If she already has on her profile that, let's say, she's a vegetarian, or she's like sober and she's not drinking, then you already know that, okay, what kind of restaurants she's not going to go to. She's not going to go to a steakhouse if she's vegan. If she's like a sober person, you're not going to ask her. You should not ask her out to a bar. That's just, it will show that if you ask her out to a bar and it says on her profile that she's sober, it will show that, okay, you do not even pay attention to what she's writing on her profile. And also like comfort level. If it's the first date, don't invite her to your place. She's not going to feel comfortable with that. Invite her to like a public place. The level of intimacy should match what date you're going on. And one thing that you can do is present decisions as emotional and not like logistical or like logical. And what I mean by this is a lot of women, and I'm not trying to generalize too much, but like a lot of women, they make decisions based on how something feels, not specifically by like a logical thing of, do I want to do this or not, but more of how does it feel about them. So instead of like being like, do you want to go to a cafe, for example, you could be asking, oh, how do you feel about getting some really nice pastries and some amazing coffee in this beautiful cafe? So you're sort of like painting this picture by using emotions and adjectives. And this allows the woman to sort of like understand how she's going to feel about things, because the more words you use to make her feel things, the better she will be able to like make the decision on whether she wants to be doing that or something else. And yeah, finalize the plan, whatever like a plan that she agrees on, book it, and let her know that, hey, I've done the booking and everything is set. I can't tell you like how many times like women have appreciated me just for like offering, already having the specific plans of like, would you like to do this, or would you like to do that, and then also making the booking and letting them know, hey, I've done the booking, well, let's meet at this time. Because she feels like relaxed, she feels that you can initiate, you can lead things, and you're organized and you're reliable, and she can feel ease, and she can feel at ease, and she can feel relaxed, because you've taken the initiative, you planned things, you've led the way, you've involved her in the process, but you're not making her do all of the work. You're leading this, and you've made like the booking and everything, so she can feel relaxed, she can feel at ease, and she can just focus more on like enjoying stuff. create romance and a safe space so she can feel the right emotions, and grow the connection and build on it with well-planned and engaging dates. The next thing is like before the date, like show up to the venue like clean, well groomed. If your beard is like a complete mess, if your hair is a complete mess, it doesn't leave a good impression. Dress yourself comfortably. You don't need to be wearing some formal, fancy clothes that is not your style. If your style is jeans and a t-shirt, then wear that. Wear something that makes you feel comfortable as well. Choose a venue that's suited for conversation. If it's a venue that's going to be too loud, then you will not be able to like talk to each other. If you're going on a first date and the first thing that you do is go to like a movie, it might be hard to build any connection there. Maybe you want to go to a cafe first, half an hour, 1 hour, talk to each other more, and then you can go for like the movie, for example. But you definitely want to have like a venue that you can have like conversations on. You should already have some topics to like prepared where you can think of like, I can ask her this thing, I can ask her this thing, I can talk about these things. So you always have like something that you can talk about, and like this flow doesn't stop. It doesn't become like an awkward silence or something. And one thing that I like to do is I like to arrive early on a date and get settled down. You might have already done the booking, but the waiter might still let you like choose if you want like a different table or something, and pick which seat you want to be sitting on. And why I do this, you will feel more relaxed. Like if you're already like arriving early, then you're not like stressed about getting there on time. You're already there. Allows you to get settled. You sit down, you take a deep breath, you start to like calm yourself. I also use this time to like look through her profile again and just like double check like things that we might have talked about already, things that she's already said. And I also sort of start planning. I use this time to just like plan as well on what we can be doing more in the date. And pick a good table and pick a good seat. And by this, what I like to do is I like to pick a table that is in like a cozy area. And if it's right next to the entrance, if it's right next to the bathroom, that's not really like a very cozy table to sit at. Pick a good seat as well. What I like to do is that I sit on both sides of the table, or I just like stand on both sides of the table, for example, and I see, okay, if she sits here, what does she get to see? If she sits on that side, what does she get to see? If one side is like looking directly at the bathroom, for example, or maybe it has like too many bright lights over there, maybe you should sit on that seat. Maybe you can put your stuff there so that she naturally goes to the other seat, which has maybe the more interesting, less distracting like view, so she can focus more on you. And why are these things important? You're never going to be late, and it always secures like a good first impression. You yourself will feel more relaxed and feel at ease, and you feel more in control of like how the rest of the day is going to be going. And you also come across as like much more well prepared. During the date, yes, be playful, lightly flirty, keep the mood warm, making sure that you're having conversation that are creating like those emotions. Compliment her choices, her tastes and personality, not her body. Again, especially for like the earlier dates, don't be talking about her physical body and things that she didn't choose. But if you're complimenting stuff that she chose, she feels even better. It becomes even like a nicer compliment, because she's something, she put thought and effort into those things, whether it's her hairstyle, her makeup style, her nails, for example. Like a lot of women are doing like nail art, and she might be paying like 35 euros a month for like the nails. You can compliment her nails, you can ask her more about the nails. She will love talking about these kind of things because she put effort into those things and she chose those things. And this is like a very easy way to like create conversation that has like nice emotions as well. And avoid like the interview vibe. Ask questions that explore her world and her life, and prevent it from being like too boring in this way. And yeah, just curate emotions to create that warmth. Like don't make it like very like a boring date. And if the vibe is right, if the connection, if like you see that, hey, guys are like being more attracted to each other, the date is going really well, you can respectfully and gently introduce like physical touch. You can hold her hand, for example, and when you're doing this, don't reach out and like grab her hand like this tightly, and she can't let go or something. I like to always gently like hold her hand like this. You can maybe stroke her like this very lightly. So, for example, if you misread the situation and she doesn't feel comfortable or something, she can easily feel like she can easily pull away as well. So, don't like grab her very tightly or something, but do it in a way that's like gentle and respectful. And the momentum, why is important? Like it keeps like the momentum like much more organic and continuous. If you always have like stuff to talk about, it doesn't make the date awkward. And this is what like builds like real emotional chemistry. She feels safe, she feels seen, and she's going to leave the date associating you with like warm romantic feelings. Good preparation means that you will feel relaxed and ready, and a good date means that she feels warmth, excitement, and safety. After the date, if you want to continue, if it was a good date, you want to like continue on, ideally you should text her back in like less than 24 hours. I mean, okay, if you have like a flight or something, then obviously like you're not going to do that. That's going to be like higher priority. But if you have a fantastic date but then you don't message her for like 3 days, she's going to get the wrong idea and she's going to think, oh, this person was not interested and this person just ghosted me. So try to text her back in like an appropriate amount of time. Exchange socials, keep the conversation going, whether you want to switch from like the dating app to like your like a WhatsApp, for example, or Telegram or Instagram or something, use, because you want to like keep the conversation going over there. It also shows like a more like escalation of dating. You're not just stuck on the dating app, you're getting more and more deeper into like involved with that person. And when you're going on dates, then try to use the dates to build the emotions and build the connections, and use the time in between the dates to ask questions like, oh, what's your favorite color, how many siblings do you have, and things like this. Things that don't necessarily create any emotional connection, but you're still like learning more about the person, like facts about that person. So this is how you can strategically like use like your time, and like how you can make conversation better, where you're using the time in between the dates for like more of the generic stuff, and then you're using the dates when you're actually meeting in person to actually build more of the emotions. Sort of like a cheat sheet or like summary of things that have been like I discussed so far. Know what women want, which is maturity, attentiveness, emotional intelligence, connection. You can add more to the list from your own experiences, but basically understand what women really want, what they're actually looking for. When it comes to profiles, show your best self in your profiles. Try to make like the best impressions. Give yourself the best chance to make that connection. Show more of your hobbies and personality there, so she sees more of you and she can find more things in common with you, and that will make her like want to swipe right on the profiles, and it will also show that you actually put effort into these things. Spark the connections with conversations and flirting that create emotions. This was about don't turn it into like a very boring job interview, but have conversations that make her feel emotions, good emotions, because when she's on a date with you, when she's spending time with you, when she's talking to you, she wants to be feeling emotions, and that's how you're going to create that spark and create that like emotional romantic connection. So that's something that you have to be very conscious of, how you can create more positive emotions. um, when you're like talking to people, you're sort of like keeping warming her up and stuff in a sense. Don't kill the momentum with like too long talking stages. Have like a good pace. You don't, if you match with someone and you only had like one or two messages, maybe don't immediately ask the person out, because she doesn't feel ready for that. But keep like a good pace, and then when you have like a bit of like enough connection that you can ask her out on a date, but don't have like too long of a dating stage or too long of like a talking stage, and don't ask her out like too early as either. You should be planning dates thoughtfully, consider her preferences, take the initiative, plan things, and the dates should be something that make her feel relaxed and ease, and she feels that, hey, this person is like doing a good job of like, this person is taking care of me, in a sense. For a good date, create warmth, excitement, and connection, and engage respectfully. Don't be creepy. Have good, warm, romantic emotions. Create that kind of vibe, and you do this through body language. You do this through the kind of thing that you will be talking about, and the different way that you are going to be doing this. But this is the kind of thing that she needs to be experiencing for a good date. Um, and yes, you need to put in the full work. You need to self-reflect on how you're currently doing things. You can self-reflect on what things really work for you, what things you feel the most comfortable with. Like not everyone is going to be a very extroverted person who can just make any kind of small talk, and you're not forced to become like an extroverted person. But self-reflect on what really works for you, what is a bit natural for you, but also what things you can improve on more, and learn how to do those things. You can do this through YouTube videos, through other maybe like dating coaches, for example. Try to find like healthy ones. There are a lot of dating coaches out there that are giving a whole bunch of weird nonsense as well. But yeah, try to find like some good ones. For example, there's the YouTube channel Charisma on Command, for example, and there are other channels as well that are trying to like teach you on how you can be like better at making conversation, for example. You can read up online, you can read some books, for example. So you have to like learn these things and practice and put real effort into like leveling up your social skills. There are no shortcuts. There are no like shortcuts to this thing. It definitely takes a lot of practice, going to like different dates, for example, different social events, and practice the kind of thing that you've learned on how to be more charismatic. Practice being conscious of your body language, being conscious of like how you're making conversation, how you're coming across to others, things like this. There are no shortcuts for this. And that's the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdullah. That was amazing. That was a really, really good one. One thing I would add is that as a heart match, we are all against dating apps, obviously, because we promote the in-person meeting a lot more, but we are also aware that you guys will not stop using dating apps. So I hope you will take that into a reference and just update your profile a little bit. And before we move on to the Anastasia's presentation, does anybody have any questions to Abdullah about the man's perspective in dating? Let's wait like 1 minute in case anyone's typing. You can either unmute or type in a comment, either works. Okay, I guess we're good then. So, Anastasia, whenever you're ready, you can take it away.
Hi everyone, good evening. Let me turn it on first. And we're gonna start. I'm gonna introduce myself and talk what we're gonna discuss today. One second. Every time when attention is on me, I feel like a dinosaur, so.
It's okay, take your time.
One sec, I need to like allow it additionally for some reason.
Okay.
Do you see it well?
Mm-hmm.
Great. And let me turn on the last thing, and we're gonna start. So, hi everyone. I know that dating is hard. I know that dating is pre. Can I swear? Because I missed the introduction. Can I? No? Yes? I'm gonna do this anyway. I know that dating is a shitty thing because I'm a dating coach. And I know that we all struggle with that because we live in a pretty paradoxal time when we have the biggest pool of people today than ever, and yet there is a loneliness epidemic, so to say. Today we're going to discuss how to date with intention, but not about the manipulation techniques, not about seduction, not about some tips, but how to figure out why do you even want to date. My name is Anastasia. I am a dating and sexual coach, and also I am sexologist psychologist. So I know a lot about dating. And when I was in my active dating phase, I went to more than 220 dates. I recalculated it recently, so I had pretty good experience myself. Sometimes those dates were shitty, sometimes they were pretty entertaining, sometimes they ended up in psychological trauma and psychotherapy for the next 2 years because you never know what you're gonna find on dating apps or in real life dating. So, we really have way too many options, but at the same time, less clarity. We fear of vulnerability, we have emotional unavailability, we have situationship culture, and we have confusion instead of connection. All of this gives us headache and desire never ever talk to real person again, never ever click on dating app, and never ever go out for an event or make any effort in order to get something. So, especially situationship culture is killing us. We really losing tracks between if it's a real relationship, if it's a casual thing, what the fuck is going on? Because when clients usually come to me feeling exhausted and heartbroken, it's rarely because they can't find a date. It's mostly because they feel emotionally lost inside this dating. Most of the dating pain comes not from the lack of options, but of the lack of clarity about what we want, what we need, and what we allow. Because when we abandon ourselves, we end up in emotional chaos, confusion, and disappointment. Let's ask ourselves, why are we even dating? Like, why? What do you want with that? Do you want to raise your ego? Do you want to have sex? Do you want to build relationship? Do you want to be cool and independent? What do you want? Do you want a one night stand? Do you want emotional sexual connection? Do you want to get married? Or do you just need a neighbor to split your rent in this economy? Why are we doing this? Because that's where the true reason for the dating starts. Because people go into that without understanding why the fuck I need another human being in my life with whom I will have emotional and intimate connection. And the reason is all reasons for dating is valid, but clarity is essential. As soon as you stop lying to yourself what you really need, you'll get more successful in the dating because that's where the core reason is. The problem starts when we don't know our own truth. Because many people secretly want emotional safety and long term connection, but they agree to casual dating. And if you want long term but accept casual, you're training yourself to accept the breadcrumbs. And that's not really the tastier things because it's never end up well. You want long term, you accept short term, you hope they will change, you silence your needs, and that's where we end up in trauma and in therapy. But mostly in extra situationships, 20 open chats, talking to many people at the same time and not getting any value, or just having sex as emotional hygiene, but not as the close connection. When we say that I am fine with casual, but inside we really hope for more. No, let's see where it goes. It's not about you, it's about me. I'm not ready for relationship and all other bullshit that you probably heard already. Instead, let's be honest. If you want emotional closeness, and if you dating to find a long-term partner, don't settle up for people who just want to get laid. And at the same time, if you want to get laid, if you just need a casual partner, don't go into dating with someone who is clearly sending you signals that they want something real with you, because that's wasting time and that's really painful. We just like in the full circle of trauma, emotional self-betrayal, and our nervous system always know the truth, even when your mind is negotiating. Because you can trick your mind, but you cannot trick your body. And when you're gonna be laying after sex with a person with whom you just have situationship or casual hookups, secretly hoping that they're gonna hug you, they're gonna kiss you, and they're gonna spend time like a little bit more time with you, or you're gonna wake up together, that's emotional how to say it politely, but I can't, so I'm gonna call it bullshit as it slightly, right? You are tricking your mind and your body suffers. And then your body is creating additional health problems, insomnia, you're having lots of stress on the background, and you have no idea where the fuck it comes from. Let's prepare ourselves before the dating. We need to work on ourselves. Our partner is not a solution. Another person cannot solve your problems, trauma, your trust issues, and everything that comes along. Another person could highlight it, and you cannot cure yourself entirely before that. But you could do some little housework because dating is emotional work as well, not social act. You need to understand if you're ready for the dating. Maybe you are deeply hurt inside, or your the most recent relationship is still hurting, and you dream about your ex but go into dating other people, or you are not emotionally available to even hold a conversation and just thinking about sex. So we need to focus like, am I in the right place for dating or not? Because it activates deep emotional patterns, attachment wounds, fear of abandonment, self worth issues, everything comes along. Are you ready to face all of that? We need to build emotional regulation, secure self worth, clear boundaries, and nervous system stability. Because if you're getting easily triggered with something, it's just not the right time. I'm gonna bring you an example. Once I've been on a date with a guy, and I am from the family of dentists, so sometimes I bring it up as a joke. My family are they're all dentists. I have a dentophobia, and then this guy got really triggered with this phrase in the way that I like, yeah, I dated a girl who also was from the dental family, and it's not ended well. And I'm like, dude, you're on the first date with me. It was fine before, and now you're mentioning your ex because my silly phrase triggered something, which means that he was not at the right spot for dating. Even like this little detail. Also, we need to build and figure out what our sexual boundaries and our self respect. Yeah, this is really important because lots of people go into dating without figuring out what they want. It's a nice field to um, train yourself, so to say, but at the same time, you could spend less effort and time if you know in advance what you really need. Because sexual freedom means honest, constant, and emotional alignment. Because sex without it creates confusion, emotional pain, and abandonment. Believe me, sex is a nice and a cool cardio activity, but when you're doing it with emotions included, it becomes a little bit more interesting than just the physical activity. Boundaries are not walls, so to say, they're rather the clarity that helps us to allow closeness and emotional vulnerability without losing yourself. Your boundaries tell others how to treat you and tell what you deserve and how not to treat you. Because when your boundaries are weak, we overgive, overreact, and tolerate behavior that hurts us, trying to satisfy somebody else's ego or just to keep them next to us. And it's really painful when you're not aware what is going on. Especially going back into sex, that's the most vulnerable state that we are, and it it is part of the dating and it's part of the relationship. Most people go into sex before they figure out the favorite color of the person that they're with, or the family things, or their best childhood memory. So it's important to mention it. It's sexual freedom is not about saying yes to everything, but it's about honest alignment with your emotional truths. Are you ready for the sex on the first date? If you're not ready and you need few months of established connection, that's also okay. But you need to know that. And on the other side, if you are talking with a person to whom sexual and intimate connection could happen only after some time, and for you, it should happen straight before, because you don't see the point of any long-term romantic connection without tasting the physical match first. You also need to be aware of that. We don't trade our emotional safety for attention or temporary closeness. And also, don't lie to yourself, because the most painful patterns I see is people lying to themselves in dating, saying that I'm okay with that. And no, self-honesty gonna protect your heart. Red flags in dating. That's a lot of the signs that could be. I just highlighted just several of them. And you also indicate certain red flags for you specifically. Because, for example, for some people, it's okay if the person is smoking, snoring, or, I don't know, doing some illegal things. And for others, it's clearly no. The first thing that's gonna trigger you in another person gonna be the reason why you're gonna break up. If you are into vegetarian dishes and the person only consumes meat, eventually that's gonna be the reason why you're gonna break up. Because comparing to other things, that's gonna be the highlight of all other issues. So let's go through some very clear red flags. First, it's avoiding labels. I'm not into dating. I'm not into being a boyfriend. I'm not into calling things how they're supposed to be. Mixed signals. Here comes also emotional swings and everything when the person is acting one way and then they treat you another way and eventually feel confused. Emotional distance. Dating, relationship, situationship, or whatever, it requires some of the emotional stepping in. And if the person is totally distanced, that's not the best case. Breadcrumbing. It's when you not getting the full attention, but sometimes once in a while you receive a message, hey, I was thinking about you, how it's going on, or you receive a reels on Instagram, or I don't know, any funny picture, especially messages late at night. It means that the person was bored or anybody else did not reply, mostly. And fear of commitment. Believe me, don't date with people who are afraid of the commitment. You're gonna get hurt. And don't play as savers, because that's not what gonna help you. If someone is unclear, inconsistent, or distant, believe the pattern, not the potential. That's especially for the girls, because we tend to fall in love for the image and for the potential of the guy that we see, and then we check if the actions align with this perfect image that we created. No, no, the person could hide some of the things, especially on the early stage of dating, from 1 month to 4 months, and then the true colors start to get on the surface. Believe the action, not the word of another person. You're gonna save yourself some time. Common dating traps. Many people fall into unconscious dating traps. It's overgiving, it's trying to be cool, chasing attention, emotional dependency, and trauma bonding. We need to understand that intensity doesn't mean intimacy, because Intensity feels like connection, but often it's trauma bonding. Real intimacy feels calm, safe, and steady. You're not supposed to have butterflies on the first date. That's the sign of your body that that's gonna end bad. It's not that, oh my God, I feel so many emotions, I feel goosebumps and butterflies in my stomach when I see this person. No, that's your nerve system highlighting that's the threat. That's the danger. Normal connection with the person who's really matching with you, it's not about the bright chemistry. It's more about calm, safe, and steady. But romantic novels, books, and everything makes us believe that the only way of connection is to feel the chemistry. Also, lots of people in the early stages of dating trying to overgive, like everything. They try to seem to be cool, to be interested, or trying to make up stories. This like pretty little lies that are not a big thing, but they add extra details to what they say and do. Because mostly people, they try to chase attention. And people trying to get emotions out of another person in order to satisfy their ego. That's also not a bad thing. Figuring out chemistry and compatibility, that's important. We need both. We need chemistry in order for our hormones and body to be interested in another body of another person, and we need to figure out our compatibility because chemistry is usually attraction, passion, excitement, and compatibility is safety, respect, and emotional maturity. You cannot get the fuel only out of the chemistry because, well, without that there is no desire, but that's not enough. Without compatibility there is no safety, and safety is the only and the main thing that the woman is looking into dating. And if we're talking about male and female relationship, safety is the key ingredient for the relationship to work out. Because if you're not feeling safe with another person, congratulations, you're in a traumatic relationship that are destroying you, and you're not getting anything out of that. In a healthy relationship, we combine passion and emotional security. I talked before that chemistry is not enough, and on the first sides of on the early stages of dating, feeling chemistry that is blocking your thinking is not the bad thing. But however, in a long-term relationship, if you're not having any chemistry with another person, you're not gonna have hormonal attraction, you're not gonna have sex, like good sex that actually causing hormones of attachment, and you're not gonna have the reason to stay with another person. Dating becomes easier when you know your intention, when you respect your boundaries, when you communicate clearly, and when you choose yourself first. It's always you, but not in the way that, oh, somebody else owes me something and should praise me and do everything to me. No, you focus on what you think, how you feel. Was it safe for you? Did you like it? And then you continue to establish relationship with another person. We say ourselves like, I choose, not chase. I observe, not fantasize. I listen to my body, not just to my emotions. I respect my needs, and I do not suppress them. While knowing all the key factors for your own view of dating, you could prepare emotionally, you respect your boundaries, you communicate clearly. And if you feel that dating triggers emotional patterns, attachment wounds, or confusion, maybe you shouldn't go into that directly, like right now, and better to focus on some self-work because you're gonna save some time for you and less disappointment as well. Because we tend to think like, oh, I don't have people around me. Everybody's like acting like assholes. They're stupid. They're not enough. Maybe I should change the direction. Sometimes we attract people who are not the best match, but that's exactly the match that we need and we could tolerate right now. You know how the girls go? They like sometimes a girl go into the date to get some validation and find another man, and a woman goes into dating to figure out what kind of trauma experience she gonna face next. Same for the guys. Sometimes you just choose people who will never ever be your happy end, but it's gonna be another trauma response. So let's save some time for yourself first and for other people and create less traumatic dating. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I'm gonna check and focus on them now while I'm gonna stop the screen.
It's very, very informative presentation. Thank you. Round of applause, guys. Silently. Yes, thank you. Okay, any question from anyone for not only about the presentation, but you can also ask about like men and women's perspective. Oh, yes, perfect. Okay, we got one. How to scare away avoidant attachers on first dates?
Let's first figure out that if you are an avoidant, like what kind of your attachment is. Because for avoidance, it's gonna be clear in the like a week or two of talking because they're gonna start to avoid you. They're the ones who giving you mixed signals. Because when they feel that emotional connection getting more intense, they step back. The ones who have like anxious avoidant, it's easy to mess it between each other if you don't know exactly, because people, yeah, in the early stages it's hard because everybody is showing their pretty masks, not the real ones. But if the person is giving you mixed signals, they are either avoidance or anxious avoidance. And if you have normal attachment style, most likely you're not gonna be interested into them. But if you are anxious, congratulations, that's your match. That's where the real work starts. So you only act clearly, and if the person is giving you mixed signals, it's not for you. Just really trust into your guts more, not into your emotions, not in the way your mind is talking. If you're feeling that it smells like bullshit, it's not gonna smell like roses, believe me.
Any other question?
Because sometimes we like because I see the questions and discussion in the chats. Sometimes we tend to think, oh, they're gonna change, or it's not clear. Let's wait for some time because the on the early signs everything is clear. If the person is not acting consistently, if they're giving you mixed signals, if they're not responding to your messages, if you talk about something vulnerable and they not giving you any emotional validation or any involvement in your needs, it's not that the person should go into like your problems and save you from all the threats in the world. No, absolutely not. But if the person is not showing any signs of interest and texting you only at 11 p.m. on Saturday asking, hey, what's up? Or sending you some flirty message out of nowhere, that's not the case. That's not when it's gonna go out. And you give this person a month, another month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, but they showed you early on. So we just don't look because we tend to fall for the potential but not for the real actions. Never trust what the person is telling you. Never trust like, oh, I was tired or I couldn't respond. You know, if the person is not dead and they not responding you in 24 hours, and it's I'm talking not about like even friendship, because in friendship we all tend, you know, this depressive episode most when we don't want to reply. I'm talking about romantic shit. When you're interested in another person You're supposed to like be involved in another person because friendship and relationship are totally different patterns of human interaction and relationship. If the person haven't texted you for 3 days and he's not or she is in the hospital in between death and alive state, or they're not flying for the past, I know, 28 hours from Australia to uh, Canada, they're not interested in you. Because people spend more time on their phone daily and they cannot spend 30 seconds on replying. I always recall this like Barack Obama phrase that he always made his wife aware what he was doing even while being president of the United States. If he can do this, your average dating situationship also can do it while scrolling on the toilet and TikToks while being in the bathroom, right? So don't buy these things.
Yeah,
That's
listen
when
to
you
their
suffer.
action. Listen to their action and not their words.
Yeah,
Words must be
words
followed
must be
by
followed by actions.
yes,
Otherwise,
absolutely.
otherwise it's talking, and it's like water in the talking. Man child. Uh, uh, it becomes very clear. Um, they are not taking any responsibility. Like absolutely, they might act nice and they might show some effort, but if the man is not in the state of an adult, they are seeking for the mother figure. There's waiting for you to solve the things. I'm talking it from the perspective of the Eastern European woman who cannot tolerate 50-50, so mind that when I'm answering the questions, because I'm absolutely not into Western approach. The man for me should act like a man, otherwise it's the child. Children don't have money, sex, and relationship. So if another person is not taking any responsibility for what they are doing, they're not aware what they're doing in their life. They are waiting for someone to fold their bed sheet or do their laundry, or they tell like, "Oh, my mom did it another way." Like cutting the strawberries or apples, that's not the cute thing. That's alarming. If he is contacting his mom for anything, or yeah, my mom chose this shirt. No, that's not cute. If he's 35, even if he's Spanish or Italian living with his mom, no, that's not a thing. I'm not talking about like some hobbies or like if the guy likes anime or still have his, I don't know, Lion King bedsheet from childhood. It's a sign. Sometimes it could be though, but with actions, if they're not acting like secure in life, you most likely don't need it. Same comes with women. If she's only waiting, like receiving and not giving back, especially emotional validation, only like give that, solve it for me, that's a sign that she's looking for a stable figure who will replace the father figure. So don't we yes, people do seek parents figure in relationship. People usually seek the mother figure in the way that mother shows how love was supposed to be. So people are getting attracted to the pattern of how love is showed, but not on the like other figure. Otherwise, that's replacement of the roles. If you're doing everything for a man, that's not the case. An adult human being is capable of doing things on their own. It's okay to care about your partner, but not to do everything. If the person is not cleaning around the house, um, what you can say? If you also live in the house yourself, you might be a good match. But if for you it's important and you are ready to clean for everything, and another person's just creating a mess, you're not gonna work out, or you're gonna suffer. Why do you want to suffer? You're not in the Orthodox Christianity, for God's sake, first of all.
Okay, we got another question. Let's make this a last one and then we will wrap it up. For someone who has been single for years and value long-term commitment, how do we prepare ourselves emotionally to start dating again without letting past experiences turn into fear?
Here comes the question, were these past traumatic experiences worked on, or you just swiped them and pretended that they didn't exist and I'm just not gonna go into dating at all? Because they're gonna pop up. And they're gonna be with you. You cannot just ignore the things and think that the next guy or woman that you meet is gonna be your love line. You don't go on the dates wearing a wedding suit. First thing, you're not thinking that yeah, that's gonna be my one time and forever. It could be your one night stand. It could be a nice experience. It could be a business contact, and you treat dating as a game, like really like a game when you need to pass levels. And don't think about this too much because if your past experiences still hurt, that's where we need therapy, or at least like some self-work. And I'm not talking about discussing it with ChatGPT because it cannot replace. ChatGPT only tells you, yeah, you're gonna go, you're good, it's fine. You could cry it out. It could help aligning, but the therapy works a little bit differently. Therapy makes you uncomfortable. Because if therapy is way too comfortable, that's not the best case, or you are not really doing emotional work. You're just talking with someone daily. Um, when you feel uncomfortable, when you really unclose what's been swept under the rug forever, that's where it starts. So, are you ready for that? It's not a miracle, and dating could be very challenging, disappointed, or it might start great and end up very badly. Are we having emotional capability for that? That's where it starts.
Okay, so everyone, I know you have a burning question, but we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you so much for joining today. I hope this was um, informative and practical and useful for you. I think it really, really was. And this is recorded, so if you want a recorded version, you can DM me. I can send it to you after I uploaded it wherever. I think I will upload it on YouTube or something. And yeah, if you still don't have any plans for Valentine's Day, both Abdullah and Anastasia will be there also. So you can talk to them directly, get to know us in person, and we're gonna celebrate our singleness all night long. Thank you again for joining today. And yes, see you next time. Ciao.
Bye.